Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For anyone that it's their first time, my name is Zinhle. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for returning. You are honestly so loyal, and I just say that because I know I've been gone for so long that when you got the notification that I uploaded, you were probably like, you know, am I dreaming? What's going on? But you're not dreaming. This is real. I'm back. For now, I just wanted to do something fun as my like kind of intro back, and that is a story time. You know, I do have some stories from back in the day that I'm like, you know, ready to pull out the storybook, open it for you guys, and you know, read you something. But I just want to say before I start that all of these stories, and if I ever do a story time, it's for fun. I don't want any like, you know, negative blood to come out of this. If you're the person in the story, don't hate me. But yeah, if you think you know who the story is about, cool. If you don't, that's also cool. You don't need to, you know, search and try and find out. I'm gonna use fake names, so let's just get into the story. The story that I'm doing, guys, it's the time I found out I was a side chick. Okay, it was hectic. So let me just start from the beginning. I think I was in my first year of university. I was going through it, guys. I was so lonely and whatever, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna find myself a man. And that's exactly what I did. I went on a dating site, and you know, after like months and months of like swiping, and you know, I finally like see this guy. For this video, we'll call him James, okay? So I see James and I'm like, okay, you're kind of cute, you know, like, it's my type. So I had, you know, heard of James before because he had gone out with a few people, not that I knew, but that friends of friends knew, if that makes sense. Cool. So I match with James and we start talking and that kind of thing. And after like weeks and weeks of talking, we meet in person. He had come to my best friend's party, and he like picked me up and he took me home, and it was just really cute. And I just really liked how like it just felt like he like, you know, meshed so well into like my life, and it wasn't hard to like integrate him. It just, you know, it was smooth sailing. Cool. So like fast forward a few months, like me and James see each other like every single day. We are like, you know, going out, like we're together, you know. Cool. So I was still in school, obviously, and James was like a bit older than me, maybe like 3 or 4 years, no big deal. But he wasn't in school, he was working. So he worked for his dad at the time, and his dad was like really, really, really strict. So at first, when James and I started going out, he used to come to my house like every single day. Like he wouldn't even like say, he would just be like, hey, I'm at the gate, please open. And I'm like, what the fuck? So luckily my parents like either traveled a lot or worked. My parents go to work during the week, so like no one was home. It's fine. Cool. So then the one day James says to me, hey, why don't we kind of like set out like a schedule of like when I'm gonna see you, because I know like you go to school and I work for my dad, so I can't just be like dropping by all the time, because you kind of like sneak out of work to come see me, right, like during the day. So he's like, yeah, let's set up a schedule. So he says, I know on a Wednesday I can definitely see you, right? So I'm like, okay. He's like, so his brother used to go to church, and the church was really close to my house. So he's like, on a Wednesday, my brother has choir practice, and you know, the church is right by your house, so whilst I'm taking my brother to choir practice, you know, I can come to your house whilst I'm waiting for the practice to finish. So I was like, oh, that's so cute. What church is it? And he tells me the name. I guess I can say the name, but I'm scared. I don't know if like I'm gonna incriminate myself by saying names. Oh, okay, but so he's like, you know, my brother is at the choir at Rivers Church. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I had a colleague at the time. I worked at Topshop. So I had a colleague at the time. I don't know, let's give her a name. Julia. So Julia at the time also went to Rivers Church. So I'm like, oh, cool, James, you know, my friend Julia from work also, she's also in the choir at Rivers. Do you know her? And he's like, Julia with the blonde hair. He goes, Julia, the colored girl with the blonde hair. I'm like, yeah, that Julia. He goes, nah, I don't know her. Sorry? You just described her. He's like, nah, I don't know that Julia. I don't know Julia. You know, it ain't me. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So of course I'm not gonna stop digging. Like, now I want to know, you just described the girl. But I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, Wednesday you can come to my house, it's no big deal, you know. Cool. So we like figure out all the other days that we're gonna like chill, and it's basically just every day now. It's just like set times. So on Friday I go to work, you know, and I'm gonna see Julia. So I message Julia like just before our shift. I'm like, hey girl, are you coming in today? Do you know James? And she's like, James who? Blah blah blah. So I'm like, you know, from church. And she's like, you know, church is really big, but maybe if you send me a picture I can tell you. So I'm like, okay, cool. I wait for Friday when I see Julia, and I'm like, hey girl, hey, like, remember James? And she's like, yeah. So when we're at work, we're not allowed our phones, so we either have to wait for lunchtime or after the shift, and we didn't have lunch together, so now we have to wait for after the shift to figure out if she knows James. And like the whole day I'm like, what the fuck, like, do you know him or not? Okay, so now it's like the end of shift, and we both like message each other, and we're like, you know, James, you know. And then she's like, send me a picture. So we both send pictures at the same time, okay? And we both send pictures of the same James. My picture's different though. So she sends a picture of James, I send a picture of James, right? I'm like, yes, that's him. She's like, girl, I need to tell you something about James. I'm like, what? She sends me another picture, and it's James and a girl together in the picture. So she's like, oh, we need to talk about James. I'm like, what's up? She's like, you know, I don't want to hurt your feelings or anything, and I don't want you to feel bad, but James is in a relationship. So I'm like, yes, you know, with me. Duh. She's like, no, James is in a relationship with this girl. They've been dating for 3 years. They met at church. They're in love. Like, they come to church with their families. They're gonna get married. Like, that's just the way it is. So I'm like, what? No! Like, it made it even worse, because it's like he met this girl at church. They've been in a relationship for 3 years. Why the hell are you, one, on a dating site, and then number 2, why the hell have you been going out with me like every day, everywhere? Like, it was, sure, I was hot, I was heavy, you know, because I'm like, you've met my family, you've chilled in my house, in my bed, like, you know all my friends, like, you go out with us all the time, we go on dates, like, we're in a relationship. Like, now I'm like shocked. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So when Julia had sent me this picture of James with this girl, she sends it via an Instagram screenshot. So now I look at the handle of James, and it's not the handle I follow. It's not the handle I follow. And then I'm like, the fuck? Like, I follow James, you know, this is his profile. She's like, no babe, this is his profile. Guys, I searched that profile. I'm blocked. Okay, I am blocked. She says, okay, no, don't worry, I have his number from like the church group chat, you know. It's a different profile picture. So the one profile, like the number I'm talking to, you know, it's James, and the other James is like James in the relationship with this 3-year hun. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So he created a different profile. He had different numbers. Guys, I'm being dribbled here to the core. He had also blocked me on that girl's Instagram, and then blocked her from mine. I don't know if that makes sense. So like we couldn't like see each other and that kind of vibe. So like he was the only person who knew that he was like going out with these 2 people, and maybe his friends. Cool. So it's Friday, so now it's Saturday and I don't have work, and James and I had previously had plans. So, you know, I'm like, I'm not gonna like, you know, I'm gonna act cool, like, you know. So Saturday morning, James wakes me up and he's like, oh, he like hits me up. He's like, hey, you know, we still on for later on, can I pick you up around 12? So I'm like, yeah, sure, as long as you invite your little girlfriend. And he's like, what? I'm like, bitch, you got caught. I'm like, bitch, you're about to know what I'm talking about. So I sent him those receipts. I sent him the pictures. I sent him, you know, the like screenshots of the different numbers. And I'm like, you know, what? He goes, nah, chill. It's not what you think. I'm like, you are joking. So I block him. Okay, I'm like, nah, I don't want an explanation. Fine. Then like 3 days later, he like messages me on the other number, and he's like, yo, like I really feel like I owe you an explanation. So I'm like, fine, whatever, like give it to me. Like you got 10 seconds. So he's like, that's not my girlfriend, that's my best friend. I'm like, stop lying, dude. Like, what are you doing? Fine. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give you the real story. So I'm like, I think I know the real story. You are in a relationship, a serious one at that. He's like, no, like my mom, we've known each other for a long time, and my family really likes her family, and it just kind of like happened, but I'm not happy. I want to be with you. And that's like, you know, that was the story he was telling me. And I was just like, no, like it's not fair to her, and it's not fair to me, and like what's going on? So then he goes, I'm like, you know, if you're not happy with this girl, like why don't you just break up with her? Sorry, it's Candy Crush. And he's like, it's not that simple, you know, because their families are like tight and whatever. I'm like, bullshit. Cool. So I'm like, you know what, like I'm not gonna carry on talking to you unless you like you did it with this girl, because like I don't want to be around that kind of mess. And also it's like, if you're gonna make me your side, like at least let me know. Like, you know, I don't want to be out here in the streets and like girls are calling me this and that, and I can't even defend myself because I don't even know what's going on. I'm not saying make me your side, but I'm just saying if you're gonna do it, let me know. A week later, this guy comes back. It wasn't even a week. I think it was like a month, you know. He comes back and he's like, yo, I broke up with my girl for you. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? By now it's like months have passed. So now it's like, I'm like going into second year, I think. It's like around New Year's. So I'm like, what do you mean? Guys, he's like, yeah, I broke up with my girlfriend for you. I'm like, no, because by now I was talking to this other guy, okay? And I was actually like, I was out on a date with that other guy. So like, I'm stressed, I'm hot, so I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? You know, this is too much. He's like, yo, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, you know, like that guy I used to go out with, he's just like giving me some stress. He's like, what's his name? So I'm like, his name is James. He's like, wait, which James? This is starting to sound like an R. Kelly, that song. Shit. We don't condone R. Kelly music here, but I'm just saying. So he's like, which James? I tell him which James. He's like, oh, honey, no. So I'm like, what? He's like, James used to go out with my sister. And he just did her so dirty. I'm like, what kind of dirty? He was like, no, James was like, you know, dating other people whilst they were together. I'm like, what? So I'm like, this is just way too close. Like, you know, I'm trying to move on. I'm out with this new guy who I actually really like. And now he's telling me that he's, you know, like his sister went out with my ex. So then, you know, like, I'm hot. So I go to the bathroom. I call my other best friend. And I'm like, yo, you know, James is on it. She's like, which James? I'm like, you know, James. She's like, oh girl, I forgot to tell you. James went out with my friend and like he did her dirty. And I'm like, stop it. Okay. So then I go back to, because I'm having lunch with this guy, my new guy. I go back to the table and he bumps into some friends, and then, you know, I'm like, I greet them, whatever. And then the girl says to me, oh, you know, your man told me that you used to go out with James. Bitch, so did I. I'm like, what? Like, in the space of like 30 seconds, I've just found like 3 different girls that James used to also go out with and that James did the exact same thing to. I'm like, how has this nigga not been caught yet? Like, the fuck? Cool, whatever. So I'm just like, you know, James, like, I'm not for you, like, let's just be friends, you know, because we were actually really good friends and I didn't mind the friendship because I actually really liked James as a person. But I was like, you know, I'm not interested in you for this, you know, this point of time. Cool. Now we can fuck, guys. Like, I've been at it with this nigga. Like, it's actually sad. So now this is like end of, I'm in third year. Yeah, so like end of second year and then throughout third year, like, we still talking, you know. Cool. So then, you know, I think it was the end of second year, so like New Year's, right? You know, it's like, you know, you're drunk or whatever, you want to know, like, why are we not talking anymore? What's going on? Cool, whatever. Because mind you, James used to still come to my house. James and I used to like hook up sometimes and whatever, but like we were not in a relationship and he was also not in a relationship, so it was fine. It was just a boundary that we set. I just like, we enjoyed each other's company. So both drunk and it's like, you know, why are we not in a relationship anymore, blah blah blah. So I'm like, I just don't trust you and I'm never gonna trust you because you showed me that you're not necessarily serious. And I'm not like, if you can do that to me and like 3 other girls, like, who's to say you're not going to do it to me again if I actually like take you seriously this time? Okay, so it's like, it gets dirty and we're just like, you know what, like, I'm not getting enough from you, you're not getting enough from me, you have this problem with me, I have this problem with you, maybe we just shouldn't do this anymore. And like, that was the agreement, you know. But like, let's just stay friends, but like set boundaries. So no more coming to my house whenever you like, no more hooking up, like none of that. I want 0. Guys, my friend messages me a picture and she's like, did you see this? I'm like, what is it? Guys, he got engaged. He got engaged. He got engaged. He got down on his knee and he proposed to someone. Okay, I was choking. I was choking. Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
So yeah, it was tense for me because then I go back to the chats and I'm like, you know, I was still talking to this guy in April. It's like June and these two are like engaged. So if I was still talking to this guy in April and he was, you know, at my house and like having fun with me, when the fuck did this happen to get engaged? Yeah, it was tense and I was just like, you know what, fuck it. It's not my story anymore. He's not my man. It's not my situation. I'm not going to put myself in it. I honestly was just like, I hope to her their relationship is serious. I hope he's happy. I hope he's like matured. I dead ass do not harbor any negative energy towards him or anything like that, because from my side, you know, like I did really like James as a person despite his like hoish tendencies. He was someone I considered a friend, and out of respect for his new relationship, I do wish him the best. If he is watching this video, I hope he's not. If you know who James is, please, like, let's not make this a big thing. This was just for fun, just for the laughs, just some, you know, like lockdown banter. But yeah, the moral of the story and why I told it is just like, don't let no nigga take you on a ride. I just wanted the story to be light and I hope you enjoyed it. If I have any other interesting stories I can think of, I will definitely record it. But for now, I just want to say, please be safe, stay indoors, find a hobby. Remember, it does take 21 days to form a habit. So just try and do something, get a routine. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.